I would mention just this week, Higher Education Associates, which is a higher education consultancy, did a review, and they were curious what had happened with first choice applications to
And we've got
universities
that graph up right now.
in
Yeah.
Ontario over the last 10 years. And I would say first choice applications are very important because they tell you what your reputation is. When people make you number one, it tells you they want to attend your university, and that's a very healthy sign of your reputation, how it's growing. And lo and behold, I mean, I knew it was good, but I didn't realize it was this good. Over the last 10 years, Trent has had an 85% increase in first choice applications, by far the highest in the province. The next institution that comes closest has a 24%, so we're increasing at triple the rate. Now that's a percentage increase, of course. We take pride that we're increasing percentage-wise at a much faster rate than the University of Toronto or McMaster or the big universities. So, and I would say that's a wonderful sign of our growing reputation.
Do you know
People
why?
wanting to
Are
be
there
Was there any
reasons?
correlation with the grape experiment?
I was even going to go higher.
Well, the great, that's right.
That was as of
that will help.
2019, so that might have been taken into account.
Yeah,
Yeah.
possibly, yeah.
So I would say there are a couple of things. One is I think we have done a very good job at marketing ourselves, and that is part of being a university. And when I came to Trent, I made some changes there, and luckily they turned out to be really good changes. So that has got us in a good place. I would also say we've been very dynamic as an institution. Trent is not just sitting on its laurels and doing things as usual, but we're building buildings, we've got research projects underway, we're developing new kinds of programs. By the way, part of that is also in Toronto. We are really becoming a two-campus university. This is still the main campus in Peterborough, but the Durham campus in the East GTA is growing, so that's part of the story. But I would say in a very positive way, we've become a very dynamic place. And I think the morale is very good in the sense that people at Trent think, oh, we can do things and we can do things differently. And Trent had some challenges historically. There was labor strife when the colleges were closed downtown, and I think we have emerged from that in a positive way.
Well, Leo, I think we're showing some renderings of the, we showed some renderings of the new Durham project.
Yes.
Tell us a bit about this, because I know people probably are aware there is a presence there, but I don't know that everybody knows that it's as large as it has become.
So the board has just approved a $35 million build at the Oshawa campus in Durham. This is the artist rendering. Trent actually has been in Durham longer than any other university. It's been in Durham for 40 years, but it's been in Durham as kind of an afterthought, began as continuing education. So we were sort of there, but sort of not. When Bonnie Patterson was at Trent, she solidified our presence a bit by acquiring a school, which was actually retrofitted in a very nice way to create a small campus. But we're booming in Oshawa and Durham, and we want to create what's a real university campus. 5 years ago, we had less than 800 students in Durham. We've now got 1,200. To give you a picture, applications in the province are up 4.5% this year. Our Durham applications are up 25%. And by the way, our campus at Durham has not had residences. We want residences to give the full university experience. You want people from a distance to be able to come and stay there, and that creates life. So this is an exciting project. I will say I like the outside because the initial proposal for the building came under fire at the meeting of the Trent board. Somebody described it as looking like a Hampton Inn,
Oh, jeez.
and quite appropriately, the board said, no, Trent is known for architectural adventure, doing
Yeah.
things differently, and insisted that we go back to the drawing board, I think, in a very positive way. So I think the result is going to be a very memorable building.
I was looking at the plans, and I mean, that's, as always with drawings, that's a huge amount of green space all around it. It's really is in the middle of Oshawa, and you've got parking lots and buildings, and can you get any bigger in terms of building on that piece of property you own?
Well, so there's a lot to this story. I mean, Oshawa has given us some land. The Durham region has given us $1.4 million towards the project. One of the things the campus suffers from at the moment is no green space, but actually this is going to create a kind of courtyard effect in front of the building, so we will gain some green space. But I would say right next to our campus is the Civic Center.
Right, there's a lot of recreational,
That's right.
that almost looks like it's part of your campus, which is great. The other thing I wondered,
And there's a possibility of acquiring some of
Some of
that
that,
space, I think, in the future.
I'm curious as well, just the way things are going right now, tuition's been cut.
Yes.
You're not going to probably see an increase in your per student grant for the next foreseeable future.
You're right.
So is more students a good idea or not?
More students is a good idea. You're right about the challenges for sure. We're having cuts to our budget. Our central budget's about $160 million, and that's going to be cut by about $8 million. And so I would say is there's only two sources of revenue. It's a little simplistic, but two main sources of revenue for a university. One is government grant, which, as you say, is frozen. The other is student tuition, which has just been cut by 10%. But if I was to have a 5% cut of the university, that would cause real damage to the academic programs, what we can offer. And so one of the things we're trying to do is grow enrollment, because every student, and if we want to, we can talk about it, and especially international students, bring in extra revenue that help us try to manage the budget situation that we're in.
The international students would be particularly important because I suspect for you and many other institutions in this province, not just academic, there's a very uncertain future regarding government grants. And you are to make up the difference. They've cut student fees,
Yes.
but they've left it to the universities and the colleges to make up the difference, have they not, between the cut in student fees
That's
and
right.
what? And I'd like to, at some point, if it's appropriate or not, what really, regarding funding, what really concerns me as a resident of Ontario is the outcome-based funding that they're talking about. That your funding will be based on outcomes, but there are no metrics yet to determine on what the criteria for that is. And that next year goes up, I think, right away to 25% of your funding.
That's right.
And up to 60% in
Ultimately
5
to
years.
60.
Now, what's your reaction to that? You don't know yet, do you, what
So I
outcomes
want
they're
to
looking
back
at?
up a little
Okay.
bit and answer your first question. So I would say one of the things you're going to see in Ontario, which has already started to happen, is that institutions go after international students. We're now in a situation, and actually it works for Trent, because about 3 years ago we decided we want to internationalize for academic reasons, actually more than financial reasons. But in the current climate, with cut tuition and with frozen government grant, I would say very roughly the average international student financially is worth double what a domestic student is worth.